my name is Anna. Today I'm going to be taking you through some of my favorite exercises for clarinet tone. So I'll show the exercises at the bottom of this video, and then I also have free PDFs of these exercises that you can download in the description as well if you want to practice to print it off at home. So I'm going to start with a chromatic exercise, and these exercises are for any level of player, but it's probably most helpful for intermediate players who've been playing at least a few years on their instrument and are kind of comfortable with some fingerings and into developing your sound, especially in the lower and upper register. So the first thing I'm going to do is a chromatic exercise that's going to take me through my complete low range to my high range. I'm going to go from a low E on clarinet all the way up to a high G. You can of course go higher if you want. You can't really go lower. So there's that. And what I want you to think about as we're going through this exercise together is keeping your air support really consistent. Your air should be moving and constant the whole time, and also keeping your tongue position at a comfortable level. So what you want to be thinking is you want to be thinking E or with the tongue. I teach a lot of people who also play saxophone or that just have some different habits on clarinet, and if your tongue position is too open, like an ah versus an E, I'll play that for you. So here's a good E tongue position. If it's too open or more ah, you kind of get that drop sound. The tone is a little edgy, it's a little bit flat. So we want to be thinking E or some combination of those for our tongue position. We also want to be having a constant airflow. So what you can do is you can blow in, if you put your hand kind of maybe like paper's length in front of your face here, and blow into it like as you're blowing into your clarinet. Your air should be a he speed. And it should be cold air. It hits about here. If it's hitting here, it's too low. That's a great saxophone air. It's more like a ha, and it's a little bit lower and warmer. Your clarinet air should be he. So you want to be hitting it here. And again, that all contributes to a really great sound. So let's start the chromatic exercise. I'm going to put my metronome on metronome. The metronome is your friend. I'm going to put the metronome on quarter note equals 60. So you can see my fingers. I'm going to start on low E. 1, 2. So I did that in half notes. Feel free to take more breaths if you need. I was trying to do it like every 8 half notes, but you might need more. You can also stop and breathe if you want. At the time of me making this video, I am in my 3rd trimester of pregnancy, so my breath support is not as awesome as it usually is. So feel free to take the time that you need for your breathing if you need more support. So as I did this, what I noticed personally for me is I wanted a little bit more support in my higher register. So I would start again, I would do this and I would start on my high C, and I'd really focus on getting those notes consistent with my air speed and the consistency of tone. So I'm gonna do that without the metronome. I'm just gonna play some long notes starting on my high C to really focus on making those clear, more resonant, and matching a little bit better across the registers. You can also have a tuner out as you do this as well. So to make this F sharp a little bit more in tune, you can either play it on the side like this or add the sliver key. That will help with the intonation a little bit. Now the next thing you want to do, and I'm not going to do this in the video because it'll be very long, you can also take what I just did and play it down the octave, or not down the octave, going down from your high register to your low register, which I also have on the sheet. So starting from your highest note, like your high G, high A, and then going all the way back down. So this not only really helps with your air support, but it also helps with your embouchure strength here. So you might notice, especially if you haven't practiced for a while, your embouchure will start to move and shake maybe a little bit here, causing it to be not as clear. So that just means that you need to do more long tones. These are called long tones in your warm-up routine. They'll be really helpful to getting you to that sound you need. So the next, I want to demonstrate one more exercise, and that is going to be the octave slur exercise. All right, so here is the register slur exercise for clarinet. Again, we're going to be thinking E with our tongue position, and we're going to be doing this in half notes. You can follow along. I'm basically going to be starting at my low range. I'm going to start with a low G on clarinet, and then I'm going to press the register key to get the higher octave. In this case, it's a 12th because the clarinet is actually voiced in 12ths with our overtone series. So I'm going to be getting a low G, and that I'm going to hit the octave register key, and that's going to create a high D, A flat to E flat. So this is also helping your ear training skills because you're hearing what those notes sound like on clarinet. Okay. So here we go. I'm going to put my metronome on quarter note equals 60. So 1, 2, ready. You can breathe here if you want. 2, ready. Okay, so that's the first half of that exercise. What you can also do is once you hold the note to make it a little bit more advanced, once you feel like you're able to get that higher note, you can play the note and then take the register key off and see if that pitch stays there, right? So let's try the low G to the D again. So the pitch is going to get a little bit flat. We're not going to worry so much about the intonation specifically for that. We're just worried about keeping that that note actually up and not having it drop down to the lower octave, right? And that requires that good air speed and tongue position that I talked about earlier. Here, let's try it with the A flat, the E flat. And try to hold it for at least a few counts. What you'll also notice when you do this is it might be time to move up a reed strength if you're going into your high register and it's feeling really easy to blow, or it's just kind of like thin sounding. It might be time to move up a reed strength. I always make sure I have, again, it's different for each person, but reeds that offer enough resistance to allow me to play up there and have some resistance there. So if that felt easy, you can also keep going up, doing this into your higher range, right? We ended with our F to C. You can keep going with F sharp, G, A flat. So let me start with F to C, and then I'll show the next exercises. Put my metronome back on. So these are great exercises to do. Of course, it's getting harder because we're not keeping the same fingering. So there's some alternate fingerings you can do for the E flat, E, F, F sharp. I do have a video on my channel talking about alternate fingerings that I like to use for F, F sharp. I believe I have G on there. I will link it here in the description. Let me know how those exercises went for you for clarinet tone. If you'd like me to make any more videos on either the chromatic scale, some high range, alternate fingerings, just anything else you would like help with in your clarinet journey. And make sure to download those links for your instrument as well. Bye.